Have you ever found yourself stuck in one of life's storms? And no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, it seems that you can't make any headway.
So many times the storms in our life, we didn't prepare for them, we didn't plan for them, we didn't ask for them, we didn't even cause them, they just suddenly happen.
I want to talk to us this morning about hidden blessings in the storms of life. Each of us this morning is in either one of three situations. You are either headed towards a storm, or you are just coming out of a storm, or you are in a storm right now. But whatever your situation, God is in control. Storms come suddenly, but God is not surprised.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe that my family can get better. I still believe that if I lose this job, there is another job for me. I still believe that my marriage is not over. Turn to your neighbor and say, you got to keep your hope. Clap somebody and say, I believe. Is there anything you believe in that you'll sweat for, that you'll work for, that you'll labor for, that you'll commit yourself to? Is there anything that you love other than yourself?
Just because we have a problem is not an indication that God doesn't love us. Our faith will be tested at different times in our life. If we weren't going to have any problems, we wouldn't need any faith. That's what faith is for. Faith takes us through the times that we don't understand and helps us come out victorious on the other side. You may be going through something, but the good news is you're going through. You're still moving. You're still alive. You're still breathing. You're going somewhere. You're going through. You're not devastated in the middle of, you're going through. And guess what? When you come out on the other side, you're going to be stronger than you were when you went in, and you won't even smell like smoke.
We get disappointed in the people that don't help us along the way. But just because you're disappointed in people, don't jump off the ship and drown in the sea. Just because people let you down, don't give up on God who never will. Just because you lost a job, don't stop trusting that God is my provider.
Sometimes you have to go through something to really get your insight, to find out who you really are, to find out what you really got, to find out that you're tougher than you thought you were, to find out that you can do more than you thought you could do. Through my eyesight, I connect with that which is around me, not that which is within me. And sometimes I cannot be delivered by that which is around me. I can only be delivered by that which is within me. If I look around me, I see circumstances. If I look in me, I see hope. So sometimes in order to really get your focus, you have to shut down your eyesight to build up your insight. Shut your eyes to what you see and turn on your insight to what you believe. You can't help victims when you see yourself as a victim. You have to announce your recovery to yourself. You've got to command yourself, get up out of this hospital bed and start to move it.
Clarity. Because when you get in a storm, you become real clear of what matters and what does not. When you get in a storm, you're not trying to say, oh my God, let me get my Gucci bag. No. When you're in a storm, you get clarity as to what matters. Your priorities come into view when you're in a storm.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. but you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrifice it and never get the candy? Or are you going to get something for your pain? Are you going to get something for your effort? Are you going to get something for this sacrifice you're making? You got to get something for this pain. You got to stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's going to be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
Don't go by what you feel. Your feelings don't always tell you the truth. Your emotions will try to convince you that it's never going to work out. Your mind will tell you all the reasons it's not going to happen. Look how big those obstacles are. Walk by faith. It may still be dark out, but I know you start the day in the dark. I know that means light is on the way. Keep doing the right thing. You're in a new day. You pass midnight. It may be 3 in the morning. I've learned the longer it's taking, the better it's going to be. God is getting you prepared for the blessing He's already prepared for you. And when it's taking a long time, that's because the blessing is bigger than you can handle right now. He's getting you stronger, more mature, more confident. Don't be discouraged because it's been dark a long time. That's a sign God is about to do something that you've never seen. It's going to be bigger, more rewarding, more fulfilling than you've ever imagined.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, so I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed, it needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself and that truthfulness and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Begin to know now that the night will pass, and as you learn to grow and progress, you will better understand how to handle every night and better live every day. Don't be afraid to face the facts of life. It is not negative to understand that the winters always come. Don't clip the word impossible out of the dictionary. Don't say, I don't want to hear the problem. I don't want to see the difficulty. Don't show me the weeds. Don't say anything negative. Only see the positive. That's foolish. There is a thin line between positive thinking and kidding yourself. And remember, there's also a thin line between faith and folly.
I fought one hell of a fight. Are there any fighters in here? I mean, I fought such a good fight that when I look at what other people call a fight, what they call a fight is what I call normal. I fought my way up. I fought to get to work. I fought to stand. I fought to carry on. I fought to live. I fought to get out of the bed. I fought with my fears, my anxieties, my insecurities. I fought with haters, liars, backbiters, and betrayers. And many times I laid in the bed, I couldn't go to sleep because I was fighting with myself. I fought.
Take ownership. Take extreme ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Don't hide your delicate pride from the truth. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Everyone took ownership of their mistakes. Everyone took ownership of the problems. Take ownership of your job, of your future, and take ownership of your life. And lead. Lead yourself and your team and the people in your life. Lead them all to victory.
Make your move before you're ready. We're instructed in life to walk by faith and not by sight. See, you want to really begin to stretch yourself. You want to become a risk taker. Most people won't do that. See, most people engage in low life living, low risk living. This God said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. Then what else is there?
Anybody who's not ever willing to risk will never do very much in this world. And in all probability, you'll end up being quite bored with your life. A couple things that I said last night that I don't want you to forget is walking by faith is taking step one before you know what step two is. After a few times, you get a little more used to it and it's not quite as scary, but taking a step of faith is stepping out to do something when you don't know how it will be provided for. But you believe with all your heart that it's what God has told you to do.
Life is short and unpredictable. And so you want to begin to take some chances. You want to begin to challenge yourself and make it okay to fail and learn from your failures. Don't allow fear of failure to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here.
You got to make changes. You got to say no. You got to disappoint people. You got to walk away from some stuff. You have to. And so stepping away from things has felt much more dangerous to me than taking on 5 new things. Does anybody get it? Anybody out there, you get it?
Trying to learn early the consequences of errors in judgment, poor behavior. And then try to learn from others that have gone down a disastrous road, and sure enough, they suffered the consequences, and you say, wow, then I'm going to change direction because I don't want those consequences. That's called being doubly smart, learning from errors in judgment. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. Now you're on the road to success. A few errors in judgment repeated, and you can turn anything around. Once you see that you're suffering either early consequences or severe consequences, all you have to do now is shut down that route, pick another destination and start going that way with some easy disciplines that day by day gather momentum, and now one success leads to another, leads to another. Here's what we call that: disciplines. Easy disciplines. All disciplines affect each other. Every discipline affects the rest. Every lack of discipline affects the rest. What's interesting about success is starting a new discipline, a couple of new disciplines, and sure enough, once you've gained just a little bit of success in a couple of new disciplines, it'll inspire you to clean up the rest. It'll inspire you to fine-tune all of your other disciplines. Each lack of discipline affects the rest. Solving problems, going from errors in judgment to easy disciplines that can change it all. And if you start that journey, it doesn't take long for new signs of success to appear. I got such great results that first year that I made these incredible changes, learning extra skills, putting together extra disciplines, working harder on myself and on my job. The early signs of the fact that I was going to arrive at a more positive destination, I was hooked. It didn't take but a few months, less than a year, and I was hooked for life.
So when you begin to say, what is it that I want to leave? What contribution that I want to begin to make? What difference do I want to make in life? What is it that I want to do with the rest of the life that I have left? What chances I need to take? What risks do I need to begin to embrace? What fears do I need to step on? What areas of my life am I dead right now? What dreams? You can either live your dreams or live your fears. You have got to get to a point where you say, I'm sick and tired of living like this. There's got to be more. That's when people go out and strike out on their dreams. That's when people get out of relationships where they're dying together rather than growing together. See, you will when you put yourself in that kind of situation. I'm reminded of two frogs that were hopping down the road, and they fell into a bottle of milk. And one was hopping up and down for a while, and he drowned. He just gave up. But this other frog just kept on kicking. He wouldn't give up. He just kept on kicking. And pretty soon he churned that milk into butter, and he walked on out.
I ask you to start that same journey. Let your new skills, new disciplines affect all of the rest. You really won't be happy if you don't produce. 6/7 of our life was to be devoted to labor and work, to produce a work of art, to produce a good family, to produce an enterprise. That's the essence of life in its best form. First is to be a producer. What is the reason for the seed and the soil and the sunshine and the rain and the seasons of life and its miracle? What's the reason for all of that? Here it is in a nutshell for your notes. To see what you can do with it. We've got books to read, and we've got classes to attend, and we've got, things to do and things to learn. And if you put it all together, you can have not only your health, but your fortune. Why not see what you can do with what you've been handed? As basic as seed and soil and sunshine and rain. Here's what all of us have the miracle, and it's almost godlike in its potential. The ability to recreate. Only God can create the sunshine, the rain, the seasons, the miracle of life. But here's what humans can do. Recreate those components into a harvest. By planting the seed, reaping the rewards in the harvest. We call that recreation. To recreate. To take your hours and your energy and your life and a bit of skill and create. Actually recreate a career, a future, possibilities, fortune. Recreate.
And that changed my life. It was Oliver Wendell Holmes who said that once a person's mind is expanded with an idea, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. So some of you are going to experience a breakthrough. Some of you are going to go back and look at your dreams and brush them off. Whatever goal that you have in mind, I want that to be a goal that will challenge you, something that will make you stretch. It was Osborne who said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it? That you talk yourself out of it? Whatever it is, bring it back out there. How you're going to do it? That will come to you in due time. See, you don't get in life what you want, ladies and gentlemen. You get in life what you are, not what you want. And see, the good news is that we can always become more by working to develop ourselves. You've got to begin to take a look at your life and look at where are you right now? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What gives your life a sense of fulfillment, a sense of joy? What does a full, rich life means to you? What is it that you could love doing 7 days a week? Think about that.
That takes an incredible psychology. But in that psychology, we bump into limits, and that's what you got to shift. And if your psychology is solid, then you got to say, where are the skills I'm missing? Because that's equally important.
And you won't be happy if you aren't really extending yourself. Because here's really the goal of the human adventure, the full development of all your potential. Why not see how far you can go, how much you can earn, how much you can share, how much you can give? Why not see what all you could be? That's why at my age I'm still working, traveling the world, doing what I've done for all these years, is to see what else I can become. How much stronger could I become? How much more refined could I be in my working with business partners and all the rest? Why not go for that ultimate challenge, on and on, as far as you can, take it as far as you can. Friendship is one of the greatest support systems in the world. Nourish it, protect it, look after it, develop it to the best of your ability. Next is your heritage. Keep your heritage alive. That's what's made America great. is a combination of a variety of heritages from all over the world. People have been coming from all the countries of the world to America, bringing with them their gifts. Gift of business ethics, gift of government, gift of music.
Everybody doesn't want what you want. The question is, are you prepared to get what it is that you want? Are you prepared to make the sacrifices? Do you understand what that really means?
That's why there's an Old Testament phrase that gives the best advice for human activity when it says, 6 days labor, 1 day rest.
And the way I get them to break their slump, not correcting their swing or getting them positive, it's getting them to acknowledge the small promises, showing up to batting practice early, hitting that extra bucket of balls, beginning to reward themselves for the extra promises they keep to themselves, puts them back in a state of self-confidence. All of a sudden, they're hitting the ball great again.
Each of us needs to be the source of our own inspiration. Life's too short, and there's too much we want to accomplish to constantly be running back to books, seminars, CD or downloads to reinforce to ourselves that we can accomplish what we set our minds and hearts to. If you're a lawyer reading this book, you've already accomplished a lot. College, law school, bar exam, job, you've already done a lot. Reflect on these past successes as you work toward new ones.
Or are you going to just be complacent? And this is the time for you to recognize the truth. This is the time for you to wake up and realize that there's something that you need to be doing. But you don't need to be doing excuses. You don't need to be so complacent and lazy about what it is that you are constantly going through in your life and giving your life less than giving your life more. Why do you socialize yourself with excuses? Why do you socialize yourself with misery? Why do you socialize yourself with being complacent? What are you afraid of? Oh, I get it. You're afraid to fail. You're afraid to go back. No one said you had to go back. All you got to do is keep pushing forward. You may fall a few times. You may slip a few times.
Now, I'm sure we've taken that to mean don't work all 7 days. Take one off. Here's what it also means. Only take one off, or you're liable to lose the war. Enterprise is better than ease. If you rest too long, the jungle overtakes the village. Now here's the good news about the war between good and evil. Evil is no match for good, but good must be active. Weeds are no match for human activity, but if you stand still, how far in will they come? All the way. They'll grow right up around your shoes.
But that doesn't mean you quit. That doesn't mean you give up. That means you must find a way and you must make a way, and you got to continue to dig deeper than you've ever digged in your life. Enough is enough. Enough with the excuses. Enough with being complacent. Enough with giving up. This is the time to recognize your purpose. This is the time for you to recognize your truth and make the most of your life. And if you're not willing to do that, then nothing's going to happen for you. Nothing is going to give you that true opportunity to be the best of yourself. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a reality check. Ask yourself, how far have you gone? How much have you given of yourself? Why do you wake up every morning with the same excuse? Why do you wake up every morning saying the same thing over and over again? Why do you feel you need that cup of coffee to start your day? Why do you feel you need to depend on your alarm clock to get up?
But if you get busy, how far back can you take them? As far as you wish. They're no match, but you must be active. That's why the 6 and 1. Make sure you're not losing the war by taking off too much. Guess what the average years are after retirement? 6. 6. Which means don't retire. Your chances are too slim. Okay. The war between good and evil, the weeds. You got to make sure you recognize the negative, handle it, deal with it, and then go on. Let's make a list of the diseases of attitude that can wreck all your chances to do well. One of the words that destroys everything is called neglect.
If you've stumbled along the way, fallen on your face, you've managed to get up and move forward. Win, lose, or draw, you're still at it. You're still getting up every one morning and facing the day. Life hasn't gotten messy. Focus on what you've done. You've done it before you can do it. Again, even if you're facing different challenges, bigger challenges, you have the talent and passions and dreams. Find where they intersect and create a plan to leverage them.
And I believe the solution to self-doubt is to build something bigger than that doubt, which is to build our self-confidence. And one thing to know about the fact that you doubt yourself is, one, I struggle with it as well. One of the reasons I've had to go learn to build all these tools for myself is because in my life, my baseball career, my academic career, my business career, my speaking career, I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our life. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Do I deserve this? Is this something that's part of my destiny? Should I be doing this? And if you're a religious person, I believe the adversary, if you believe in the adversary, I believe the adversary's greatest tool that he could use against you to get you to lose in your life is to get you discouraged and doubting.
I went into the workforce. My dad thought for sure that having me do essentially menial labor jobs would teach me that I didn't want to do that, but it also made me sort of numb to that kind of work. And so I worked in a paint factory, I worked in a door factory, I worked in a paint warehouse, a paint store. My dad happened to work for a paint company, hence the theme. And I was too lazy to go get a different job. And so I literally just always took whatever was before me. But I had this sense that I could do more, that I could be more, that there was something that I was meant to do. I didn't know what that was exactly. I had a love for filmmaking, to be sure, and I've had that love since I was a little kid, but I had no idea how that was going to play itself out. Now, the irony of my life is when I went to leave for college, I almost chickened out. In fact, I did chicken out, and the only reason that I ended up going to college was my mom forced me to.
Most of us have one or more favorite teams, collegiate and professional. Most of us have athletics we follow and cheer for. Some of us, even at my age, seek glory on the field or court. Maybe it's the immediacy of victory. You play and you win or lose. Maybe it's having fans watch and scream for you. For some of us, even though our athletic days are behind us, we try to have that dream live on through our children.
These are two of the most chaotic things that the adversary can do to us, or that we do to ourselves in our own minds, is to get ourselves doubting, to get ourselves discouraged, because you can't win when you doubt and you can't win when you're discouraged. What I found out, though, about self-doubt is that you don't overcome it, you build something bigger than it, which means you build your self-confidence, and the greater and greater your self-confidence get, it minimizes the impact self-doubt has on us. Now, why is that so important? It's important because you have to understand one thing about the doubts and the negative thoughts you have about yourself. As hard as this is to accept, these are not your thoughts. You weren't born doubting. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born thinking negative things about yourself. Those were thoughts that were placed in you and given to you by an external source at some time in your life. It could even be our parents. Don't do that. Be quiet. Sit down. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Maybe it was criticism you received as a little one.
And I was having this moment of crisis. There was only me and one other kid that was leaving the state from my high school. Everybody else went to a state school. Everybody stayed together. It was that familiarity and living essentially a small life. And it sounded really enticing at the prospect that I was about to move away. And so I said to my mom, you know what, look, let's just forget all this. Let's call it off. It's going to be really expensive. I'll just stay here. And my mom was like, over my dead body. And she pushed so hard to get me out. But then every day since then, my mom has tried to get me back. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're the reason I left. I never would have left if it wasn't for you. So I literally don't understand. And in that moment, my mom gave me the greatest gift anyone could have ever given me, because my mom supported me. She was my biggest cheerleader. But when I asked her why she pushed me so hard to leave for college, her answer, totally without malice, was I always assumed you were going to fail.
He identified your dreams, identified your passions. They're interrelated but distinct. A dream is something you want to accomplish. It's bigger than life. It requires talent, hard work, dedication. It also requires passion. Passion is what gets you out of the bed earlier than most to prepare for a marathon. Write a book like this, go to night school for another degree, and any host of other tasks that require drive, grit, and heart.
If you're not careful, you live in a constant state of anxiety, on the edge, worried about stuff. My biggest regret at 55 is all the things I worried about between 25 and 55. 85% of them never happen. But it doesn't matter that it doesn't happen if it steals your joy, if it robs you of your peace, if it stops you from celebrating the moments that God has given you. Because some people can't enjoy where they are for worrying about where they're going. It might be dark for you right now, but it's not over. You might be going through a season of the absence of a thing that you legitimately need, but it ain't over. You may have to function for a while without the absence of the thing you adore, but it's not over. You might have to go without what your neighbors have, but it's not over.
For somebody struggling just to keep your head above water, you're smiling just to keep from crying. You're doing the best you can, but you put 1 foot forward and 2 steps are made back. You're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life. You're doing everything right, but you're still suffering.
You see, to be anxious is to have anxiety over a threat that has not been executed. Just worried about stuff that hadn't happened. I'm under threat, and life is a threat. Full of threats.
Life is a fight for territory. And once you start fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over.
To really be able to persevere in times of trial and fiery difficulty.
I'm telling you right now, if you are going to birth your dream, your passion, and the second half of your life, you can't draw back when life gets tough. You've got to stand up to it and push. We have 1,000 reasons every day to have anxiety. The psychologist says that anxiety is like a pilot flying a plane, looking at all of the various gauges on before him and not understanding that the gauges are incorrect. It makes you think that you're flying lower than you are, that you're closer to destruction than you are, and you're reacting to the gauges as if you were about to crash, never realizing that anxiety breaks your gauges and you cannot trust your own senses. You can't trust your gauges, but you will get there. You may go through some stuff, but you will get there. You may be betrayed, but you will get there. You may even be delayed, but you will get there.
Life is difficult, and a resilient person is capable of standing up to things in the face of fear and moving forward voluntarily, convinced of their own competence and ability to prevail.
But not enough people are willing to build that mental, emotional toughness. And the moment they do, they'll persevere.
You face yourself,
You realize you want to be better. You realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Spend time with yourself. Trust me. And once you find that passion and that purpose, your goals, your purpose, everything will just start lining up. And then you'll find the courage to start that journey from that 20 to 100.
Zig said most people in a fearful situation, they forget everything and run. But there are a small number, the road to life is straight and narrow, a few there be that find it, who face everything and rise. He said if the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. And so when you say dream big, that's major. One, there's power in pursuit. Because, as Jim Rohn said, it's not the accomplishment of the goal that matters. It's what you become in pursuit of the dream in the process. Because when you have a big dream, it will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now, that you will never discover in your comfort zone. Because in order to achieve that dream, you've got to die to who you are now. I must die daily. You must die to who you are now to give birth to who you are to become. I believe that all of us have stories of greatness.
When trials and difficulties come, when your health starts to fail, when your children break your heart, when persecution comes just because you're trying to do the right thing, when difficulties, tough times, hard days, long nights, it is then that your faith kicks in to let you know that he's a very present help.
Everything starts out good. And as long as it stays good, you don't know what you got. You don't know what you can do. You don't know what you can stand. You can't rely on a fair weather relationship. You don't even know who you're married to until all hell breaks loose. When the lightning is flashing and the thunder is raging and we're downsizing and we got to move into what looks like a closet, you don't know what you got till the storm breaks loose. It is the storm that defines character. It is how we react to the crisis that proves the depth of our relationship. If you just keep up your defense, you may rock a little bit. You may shake a little bit. You may have to buckle up. But you will get through this. But if you forsake the posture of protection and panic up under the threat of assault, then the enemy gets territory that he would never have because you relinquished your position. There's something that you could do, that you could think in your life that would radically change your life. Somebody could take the hand you've been dealt and win with it. Same circumstances, same ideas. They would do it through what they thought about your life. But we don't need somebody, because we got you. Discipline requires that you hold your position even when you're under fire. You can't speak peace outwardly if you have turmoil inwardly. If as long as you got peace on the inside, hell can be breaking loose on the outside. And you can speak out what you hold in. The worst storm in the world is not the one on the outside, but when it gets on the inside, you cannot speak what you do not have. A ship never goes down because the water is around it. It doesn't matter how much water is around it. It was designed to sail on top of the water. And as long as the storm is on the outside, the ship can sail through anything.
Don't look at it and say, why me? Look at it and say, why not you? And just get up and put one foot in front of the other and use your situation to add value to the world. The quicker you shift your perspective to add value to the world, the quicker you'll get to your situation and your circumstance.
learn how to handle the winters. Just the winters of the calendar in the last 12 years, how many winters? About 12. But it's not just the winters of the calendar, it's not just the winters of the season. There's all kinds of winters. The winter when you have all kinds of hecklers on a telephone call. The winter when you can't figure it out. The winter when it all goes wrong. Right? The winter when you get that first half dozen refunds. The winters of your life. Social winters. Political winters that we're going through around the world. The economic winters that a lot of people are experiencing these days. Personal winters when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you've got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the winter, you can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself.
Never say, I don't know what it is that I got. What's most important, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Commit yourself to do that which is in your heart. You were not born to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. We get paid to work on a job. That's what we get paid for. But your calling is something you're made for. What is it that you would do free? Something that you love it so much, you do it for free, and you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. That's your dream. That's your superpower.
You can get wiser and stronger and better. Wiser, stronger, better. Go home smarter than you came. Go home with more ideas than you came with. Next, get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the inspiration muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody here that can't get stronger. Next time we see you, may not even recognize you. How strong you're going to be able to become in language, in style, in personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens. And the third one is get better. We can all get better. I've gotten better. First talk I gave, I stood up, my mind sat back down. But here's the secret to my success. I stood up and did it again. Stood up and I did it again. And I did it again, and I did it again all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared, and I did it when I didn't want to, and I did it when I was ill. And I did it when it didn't work well, and I did it when they didn't appreciate it. I just did it anyway. And now all these years later, I got better. I got better day by day, and week by week, and month by month. And I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach, until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there that wasn't there, missing before. I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturn. The money downturn, the social downturn, the personal downturn, whatever it is. Just get stronger. Get better. We've all got those personal winters. We know what those are like. Barbra Streisand sings, it used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs. You don't say you need me. And you don't bring me flowers anymore. A winter song. But hey, we're acquainted with all those personal winters, all the rest of it. The key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage, get better, get wiser, get stronger.
And do that. Because if it's something that resonates with you, it's something that's in your heart, where your heart is, there your treasure is also. Remember A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. We always go all in on something that we love. What's in your heart? Because where your heart is, there your treasure is also. In my book, I say, live a heart-centered life.
So as long as peace guards your heart and your mind, your life can go through anything. As long as you don't get so caught up in your swing, in your business, in your dream, in your hope, in your potentials that you drop your guard. Stand right still. Steady yourself. Take control of the situation. No matter what you read, or what you heard, or what they say, or what they do. Don't drop your guard. You can make it through anything as long as you don't drop your guard.
Your scripture, here's what he said. I fought a good fight. See, that's extraordinary to be able to say. I fought for my kids, and I fought for what was right. And I fought for my good health. And I fought to protect my company. And I fought for a good career that would bless my family. I fought a good fight. It's good to fight. The encroachment. Opposites are in conflict, and we're in the middle. And if you want something valuable, you got to fight for it. Then this writer also said, not only have I fought a good fight, and I'll finish with this, and I got a much longer list, but maybe I can cover these at another time. He said, I fought a good fight, and I kept the faith. See, that's the deal. Keep faith with your family. Fight like crazy and keep faith. Fight the enemy and keep faith. Fight illness and keep faith.